Okay, in this session, what we do is we'll learn about the Java condition checking statements and how do we get the data from different elements of your page. Okay, how to get the data and all. We'll be discussing that. Okay, so we have seen that earlier we can design an HTML page. We can design it by using what you call a forms. I will take one small example. I will take. Then we'll have the elaborate. Again, we'll have a backup class for the forms. Again, I'll have it. So right now, so I just take the form design. I'll take a simple form. I will take it, and then I'll just explain you. Yeah. So as usual, I'm allowing my Visual Studio to complete my document part. Now I'll just give a title as my JavaScript using the forms. Now I'm talking about my forms now. Okay, now how do you design the form? If you want to design the form, you're going to use a tag called a form tag. You're going to use it, form tag. I'm not talking about the other attributes of my form. I'm just using the form tag. I'm using it. Now, what is that form I want to design is, I want to design a form where I read two numbers from the user. For example, so how my form looks like. If this is my screen, let us say the screen design we'll talk about now. Okay, if this is my form, this is what you call a screen there. So in this one, so I want to have one number I want to read. So another number I want. Okay, then so I want to show the sum of those two numbers I want to do it. So in this one, the third one, I want to show the summation. So when I would like to show the summation, so I like to show the summation when I click on this. Let us say that the button is called sum there, right? So you have any difficulty, just zoom in a little bit. Okay, so then the first number, let us say this is your first number. I'll just write it as first number. So this is my second number. Then so here I want to show the sum of the numbers. Give me a minute. It's raining. This is the form which I want to design. So what I want to do is I want to read two numbers and then I want to show the sum of the two numbers I want to show it. And then the calculation has to be done when I click on the sum button. Now let us see how this design we are going to do it. I'll go back to my screen design. Okay, now I want to write that. So I would like to have a table like thing I want to have it. So I will take a table. In the table, I would like to have the rows. The first one I want to have a label, I want to have it. A label I want to design. So where I want to give it as the first number. So next to that, I want to have input box to be designed. So for that, I'll take the input type. Input type is equal to text. I'll be defining it. Then I'm writing size. Size is equal to some 6. Okay, right. I'm defining the name attribute. I'm defining it. So I call it as n1. And then I'm also using another attribute called id. We'll discuss both this. ID attribute I'm using it. Another one is I'm using called name attribute I'm using it. Okay, the same, I want to make a duplicate copy of this. I just pressed Control plus D. So in my Visual Studio, this is my N2, the same size and everything. So only thing is, instead of saying it as the first number, I call this one as my second number. I'm duplicating it. Now I want my result to be displayed. So for result display, I'm going to use another button, another text box I'm going to use it. So where I call it as a result is summation I want to show it. Now for this, I'm giving the naming as N3 and then ID is equal to N3 I have given it. Okay, this calculations we want to do when I am going to click on the add button. So for that, again, no, I don't want to have a label there. So I want to have a button design. So input type is equal to button I will take. Then size and all is not required for me for the buttons. So I'm not using them. Okay, simply I'm using one text box, button there. And I want the button to be placed somewhere in the middle of my the form design. So what I do is I'll write the call span is equal to 2. I'm writing it. So when I say call span is equal to 2, what will happen? It's automatically both the columns will be occupied by one particular column for me, and then okay, so the button is going to be placed for me in the it's going to be aligned from the left. I need to change the alignment. You can also change the alignment part. You can do it. I'll just save this. So let us go to the browser and see how the output is going to come for me. I'll just say Control plus O. I'm selecting my file, C2, I'm selecting it, and then I say open. Now you see that the form design is going to come for me, right? So what is it? This is the form which you want to have a design. Okay, next to this, I want to have some numbers, okay? Then, okay. Then, so here when I click on this button, I want to do something. So for that, what I'm doing, input type is equal to this one. And then I'm writing value is equal to sum of the numbers. I call it a sum of the numbers there. Save it. Then I refresh my page. Now you see that the button is going to be given me sum of the numbers. Okay. So how we are going to do it now? So I type one number here, then tab key, another number I'm typing it. And then when I click on this button, I want to do some calculations. I want to do it. Now comes the question, how these calculations we are going to do, we'll discuss now. Now for this one, what I'm doing is when I click on the button, I want to do some activity. I want to do it. Okay. Before I discuss more on that one, now for this, what we got the first number, second number result, right? Around this one, I want to have a box to be placed. So for placing the box around this one, so I'll make use of something called legend. I'll be making use of it. So I'll say legend, and then I say my calculator, some okay calculator. Then I'm writing like this. Okay, let's see what is going to happen. I refresh my page. Now you see that it's going to give me my calculator here. And I want these to be enclosed in a box. For that one, so instead of using, in addition to the legend, sorry, spelling mistake. Okay. No, I use the legend there. So you get the legend there, fine. I want a box to be placed. So then what you do is we have another tag, what you call the field set. We are going to have it. I'm just opening the field set, and then I'm going to close after my table there. I'll save it, refresh the page. Now you see that you're going to get a border around it, right? Okay. Now let us say that I don't want the border to be such a big border. I don't want it. I want to cut down my border now. Then I'll make use of my CSS. I'll make use of it. So what is that I'm going to use in my CSS? So what I do is I'll go to the CSS part. I'll define the style sheet. Okay. So what is the style sheet? I want to have the style sheet for the field set. I want to have it. So field set, I'm opening the flower braces. Now I'll say the width, I'll be defining it. So width is equal to, I'll just say 50% of my window, I'll just find it. Then I'll refresh it. Now you see that the width is going to come down for me to 50%. Okay. Now let's say still you want to get down. So you can define it's 30%, you can define it. Then you can see it's going to get down for me to 30%, right? Okay. So that's how you can make use of your CSS can be made use of to control the way the behavior of your controls or what you call the elements what you're going to use. Their behavior can be controlled by using the CSS, right? Okay, so this is fine for me. Now, when I type my numbers, two numbers I'm typing it, and then when I click on this button, I want to do the calculations I want to do. So for that purpose, what I do is, so first I'll define one function, I'll be defining it. So what is that function we'll talk about now? So we have what you call the functions are going to be there for me in my JavaScript. So what are these functions means? Functions are nothing but they're also called, you call them as procedures Okay. Okay, better let us not use the word called procedures. Functions, we define them to do some activity, to do some activity, you call it as, or some action. So I want to do something, I want to do it, then I'm going to define a function. Now you may ask me a question, why is it necessary for me to define a function? No, it's not necessary, but defining the functions will help you to do the things in a much better way. Like what you can do is you can avoid writing the same code again and again. You can avoid it by using what you call the functions. When I'm going to use function concept, it will help me to avoid the repetition. That means writing the same code again and again. We can avoid it by using the concept of what you call functions can be used. Now, how do you define the functions in my JavaScript? Means if you want to define the functions in your JavaScript, so we are going to use a keyword, okay, called function. So this is the keyword we are going to use it. So this is the keyword used to define functions. To define functions. Now, what is the syntax that I need to follow for my function definition? It is function followed with what is the name that you want to define for the function, then parenthesis. Optionally, you can have something called parameters. We'll discuss what is these parameters slowly, one by one we'll talk about. Then you open the floor braces. There you're going to write the commands you're going to write to perform the task or to complete the task. Right? So whatever the task I want to complete, that task related commands, I'll be writing it here in my function part. Let's see this. So where I'm going to write my function is, I'll go to the body part. You can write in the body part also, you can write it, no issues in that. Okay, I'm going there. So I'm using the script. We know that JavaScript, you have to write the commands, everything connected with the JavaScript, you'll be writing in the script part. Now, then I'll be writing the code function. So what I want to do, I want to do the add, right? So I'll give a name called add. See, this is a user defined name. You can use any name you want, you can use it, but the rules you have to follow are the identifiers. The last session I was telling you about the rules of the identifiers. Those set of rules of those identifiers you have to follow it. Now I'm not passing anything for this one. I'm just using a dummy parenthesis there. Now what I want to do it. So when I click on this button, I want this code has to be called. To call that particular code, right? What I'm doing. So I'll be making use of the button there. For the button, I'll be writing something what you call on click. I'm writing it. I'll just say it's on click is equal to add. I'm writing it here, right? I'm writing on click is equal to add. I'm writing. Let me just, okay. That means when I click on the button, you want to call that add. So that is what it means for me there. Okay. Let's see now. So first I want to have, I'm having some number is there in the text box number 1, text box number 2. So that is what we gave the naming as. I given the naming as N1, N2, N3. So, right? So able to understand the output there. So I'm having 3 text boxes are there. So for this one, I gave the name as N1. For this, I given the name as N2. So for this, I gave the name as N3 there internally in the coding part, right? So understood everybody, right? Okay. So what we have done, so in the HTML page for this one, we are given the name as N1. So for this, we are given the name as N2. For this, I use the name N3 I have used. Now, remember very important thing, I have used 2 things. One is called ID there, and then one more is name. Both I am using it. I'm using one is called ID, other one is called name. Both I am using it. We'll discuss them. So how they are going to be different, we'll discuss that. Right. Okay. Now I want to get the data what is there in my N1 there. So if I want to get the data what is there in my N1, we said that in our JavaScript, so we have an object called document, right? We said that in JavaScript, we have a built-in object called document. So what is the use of this object called document means? This object called document will help me to access the data which I am displaying it on my web page. Whatever the data that is there on your web page, so that data you can access this by using this object what you call document object. Now there I'm having one element is there. So what you call the text element, I'm having it, okay, we are having text element is there, name element is there, button element is there. These different types of elements are what you call them as controls are there for me on my screen now. Now I want to access those elements, then so I can make use of the document object. Then, so in this one, so we have a function available called get element by ID. I'm having a function called get element by ID. So this function get element by ID is a built-in function for your JavaScript now. Now this function, which is a part of the document object, this takes some name of the control as the argument. Sorry, not the name, their ID. So I given the ID as N1 there, and that I'm passing as an argument for that one. And then once you get that one, so I want to use the value of it. I want to get the value of that particular text box. I want to get it what you call N1. Then what I'm doing, I'm using now document object dot get element by ID dot value. I'm using it. When I say that, it's going to get me the data from that the element whose name you are given as N1 or the ID what you are given it as N1. So its value to be getting it, and then okay, I'll take a variable called A and I'll put that value there with us. Now one more variable I'll take called B. So there, so what I'm doing, I'm taking the I want to get the value from N2. I want to get it. Now after getting the data from N1 and N2, I want to add these two data there. That is, I'll take C. C is equal to A plus B. I'm writing now. And then once I get the summation value, this value again I want to put back into the third element. I want to put back. So for that one, so what we do is, so the result I want to put into the third element, right? So what we do is we write the document object dot get element by ID dot value is equal to C. I'm writing it. Okay. So I'm writing there equal to C. I'll just save this. I'll go to the browser and then I'll refresh my page. Then I'm using now the first value tab key, second value tab key. Then I'll click on the sum of the numbers. Okay, sorry. Okay, I think we have missed the parenthesis. Yes. So we have missed the parenthesis. We didn't give the parenthesis for this. Yeah. Refresh. Okay, first number, second number, and I click on this. Okay, so we had a mistake is we are displaying the result in the second number itself. So we should have displayed the result in N3. I should have displayed. Right. Okay, I'll just again refresh my page again. So then I'll give first number, second number. I'll click on the button. Now you see that. So it is going to do what? Two values that we are given. They have been added, and then it's going to show me the result here for me. Right. Now if you look into the result there, so first value is 23, second value is 11. So what it is doing for me, 23 and 11 both are concatenated for me. It is not going to do the job of what? Addition. That is a mathematical addition is not performing it, but it is going to do the job of concatenation now. Now let us understand what is we have done there. Okay. So when I'm using this, the object, what you call the document object, dot get element. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll just copy down this code. Instead of writing it again and again, I just copy down the code now. Now, what we did is we use like this document dot okay get element by ID dot value. We are using it. Remember, when I'm using like this, so what happens is JavaScript returns me JavaScript returns the data, okay, the data in string format, we call it as. It's going to return me the data in string format. Now, when we apply, so when we apply the plus on strings, remember it does concatenation. Okay. It does a concatenation. That means joining. It's going to do the job of joining two values. That means, so first value 10, second value 20. My A plus B is going to give me 1020. It's going to give me. No, I don't want that one to happen. I want my numbers to be added. I want to perform. I want to do. I want. Okay. I want mathematical addition has to be done. So mathematical addition, I want to do it. Then what you need to do is string data, what we got, sorry, string data has to be converted to number. So how we do that one? In JavaScript, we have a function called parseInt. So parseInt is a function. So what it does, it takes a string as an argument. Okay, it takes a string as an argument and it returns me the integer value. Right. So the passing function in the what it does, it takes a number, string in the number in the string format. It does conversion to the numeric value and then it returns me. Then after this, now if I'm applying the plus operator on that, so it is going to do what addition it's going to do for me now. That the mathematical addition is going to do it. Now let us see how this one. So the first part of the code, I'll just do one thing. I'll just copy this. The first part of the code, okay. So this is we are sorry. So this is what we have done it. Now, so it has done the addition work for me. That is concatenation it is going to do for me. Then, so what we said, we want to have the conversion has to be done. So how the conversion will take care? So we said we are going to have something called parse int. Remember, I is a capital letter there. So I'm supposed to use the capital letter I. Then, okay. Then for this one also, I need to write the parseInt. We said what is the syntax for the parseInt is? ParseInt is a function which takes a string as an argument for me. So what I'm doing now, I'm using parseInt, open the parenthesis. I'm passing the data that is written for me from my form, okay, from the text element that I'm passing as an argument to my parseInt function, and then the parseInt function converts string type of data to the numerical type of data. I'll just save this. I'll go back to my browser, then refresh. Then let us see some other numbers. I'll just give it. And now I'll click on this one. Now you see that now it's going to perform the mathematical addition, or you see the numerical addition of the two numbers. It's going to do it for me. So how we have done this? So we have done this one by using the parseInt function. The parseInt function will help me to convert the string type of data into numeric type, that is into integer part. So the parseInt converts from string type of data to integer type of data there. I'll just copy this code. I'm just pasting it over here. Fine. So what we did, once again, have a recap of the things. Now what we did. So what we did is, so I want to have the addition of two numbers. Okay, I want to do the addition of two numbers. I want to do it. Then what I did is first I have designed my form. I have designed. Remember, forms are used to collect the data from the users. Whenever you want some data to be collected from the users, you're going to use what is called the form. Now, when you say that I want to collect the data, so for example, here I want to collect two numbers from the user. To collect two numbers from the user, I'm going to use two different text elements. I'm going to use it. And then I want the result to be placed in the another text element. So for that one, I'm using third text element. I'm going to use it. Now, when I'm using my third text element, so the result, whatever we got it, so that we want to put it into the third text element. I want to put that. So when I want to put the data into the third element, so first what I'm doing, I'm going to retrieve the data from these two elements first. Okay, so let us see this, how we have done this. I'll just change the size of my screen so that we can have the understanding of the things much better. Okay, so now, so what we have done is, one second. Let me make small change now. Once again, spawner. Once again. It has taken care of some formatting part. So that is a built-in feature that we have in our Visual Code. Yeah. So let me talk about this one. Now the explanation part will look in. Now what we did is, so we have defined an element. Okay, here we have defined an element with the ID called N1. And then we have defined one more element with the ID N2 here. Okay. Then the third element also we have defined with N3. Now, in the code, what we are doing it as a part of the code part here. So as a part of the code, so what we are doing is, okay, just a small adjustment there, size adjustments, nothing more. Okay, so first here I'm just concentrating part. So here I'm writing name is equal to N1, ID is also, I'm using the same thing right now. Okay, then, so this is the name that you are given as N1 for this particular control. So now I want to get that data. So what I'm doing, I'm just designing there. If you come down there a little bit, you see one button we have designed it. So the button design, so what we have done, we are given there something called on click for that. So here I'm defining something called on click for this particular button. That is, when I'm clicking on this particular button, that is, you take your mouse pointer and press a click button on that. So left button when I'm pressing it. So you are telling that, so when you click on that button, so you are asking to call a function by name called add. Okay, we are asking you to call the function called add there. So once I call the function called add, in this function called add, what I am doing is, I'm asking to get the value from the control called N1. That is my element called N1, I'm asking to get the value. So once you get the value from your N1, okay, then after that, what I'm doing is, I'm putting into the variable called A here. So before I put the value into the variable called A, I'm using the parseInt function. When I'm using my parseInt, what will happen is, the parseInt function converts the string type of data into numerical type, that is into integer type, it's going to convert. So after doing the conversion part, it's going to store into the variable called A. Again, I'm doing the repetition, I'm doing it. So what is that repetition I'm doing it? So I'm taking another one called N2, I'm taking it. Okay, I have taken one more element called N2. Then for the N2 also, what I'm doing, I'm using the same exercise, I'm going to do it. So I'm getting the value from N2 control, and then I'm placing into the variable called B. So before I place the value into B, I'm doing the conversion and then I'm putting it into B there. So once you put that one into B, after that, the second step, what we are doing is, the third step, sorry, there. So in the line number 21, so I'm adding the value of A and B, and then I'm putting into this variable called C there. So after placing into C, then you see in the line number 22, what I'm doing is, I'm using document dot get element by ID of N3, I'm using it. Now remember, this N3 is a name that we are given for the third text box there. So I gave the name for this one. So in this value, dot value is equal to C I have given. That means whatever the data that you have stored into this variable called C, that I'm asking to place into the third text box, which is there, I'm using it, right? So this is how I have done the addition of my two numbers. I have done it by using the forms there. So by using forms, we know that we can collect the data from the user. To collect the data from the user, what I'm doing is, I'm designing a form there. So once my form designing is being done, now important thing is, when I'm going to design my form, I'm using two different attributes. I'm going to use it. So one is called the name attribute, other one is called the ID attribute, I'm using it. So these two attributes I'm going to use it. Let us not worry about the name attribute. We are talking only about the ID attribute. So generally remember, whenever you're going to have the form design, you're going to do it. it is better you define the name attribute and the ID attribute. Just for a small introductory thing here, why we are going to use the name attribute? The name attribute we are going to use for the server-side programming, we call it as. So whenever you have the server programming, you are going to write, their name attribute is going to be very helpful for you. And when I talk about my ID attribute, so ID is an attribute that we use it, but the most of the time we use it in the client-side programming. So when you talk about the client-side programming, you'll be using the attribute called ID. In case of the server-side programming, you'll be using an attribute called name attribute. You'll be using it, right? Let's not worry more about that stuff. We'll talk about that more in coming classes. We'll be talking what is the server programming and all that. Right now, we know that in JavaScript is a client-side programming language. So when I talk about the client-side programming language called JavaScript, so here what we are doing, we are making use of the attribute called ID attribute. After using the ID attribute for the particular control, and if I want to get the data from that particular control, if I want to get it, then we are going to use document dot get element by ID of that element name. You are going to use it, and then we say dot value of it. It is going to get me the value of that particular text control for me, the where I have defined the name as N1, then N2, then I want to put into the N3 there. So then I'm using document dot get element by ID of N3 dot value is equal to C I'm writing. So when I say that, it's going to put the value back into the N3 variable there. Now, you may ask me a question, is it I have to use only N2, N1, N3 like that? No, not necessarily that you have to use only N1, N2, N3. Any name can be made use of it. That's only a user defined name. The name or the ID that you are going to define for the controls is only a user defined. That means you can have any name, whatever you want to have it, right? So that's called a user defined name. So that is nothing but the name that you're going to define is nothing but an identifier. Identifier is what? It's a user defined names. The user defined names are called the identifiers. You can define your own name, but you have to follow the rules that don't use the spaces and all. Better not to use spaces and all between them. You can make use of underscore as a special character. It's always advised not to go with the starting alphabet and starting with the underscore and all. Use simple names, you use it. So like as I'm using N1, N2, N3 like that, you can use the simple names and you can do it. Okay. Yeah. I'll do one thing. So I'll just clear out these things. Okay. So here what we did is we are used simple calculation. We have used it. Now we'll talk about something more about this one. So what we call it as condition checking statements. Now, what is this condition checking statements? So we'll see this. What is this? Conditions. What do you mean by conditions? Like for example, let us say, okay, generally we talk about, we'll take one situation, we'll take, for example, just now it was raining for me. Now, I say that if it is raining now, take an umbrella and go, right? So I'll say if it is raining, okay, use the umbrella. So use the umbrella. Now let us say if it is not raining, okay, if it is not raining, generally we don't read an umbrella. If it is not raining, go without umbrella. Okay, without the umbrella. Understood what I'm telling? I'm having a condition, I'm having a situation where if it is raining, I'll take the umbrella or use the umbrella, take the umbrella, whatever it is you call. Now, if it's not raining, okay, go without the umbrella. I don't require an umbrella, so I say that it is not required. You go without the umbrella. That's what I say. So I want to have a condition to be done there. Some checking has to be done. So how do I do the condition checking now? So when you talk about conditions checking now, okay, so when I want to have the checkings has to be done, like these conditions I want to do it, then in our JavaScript, we are having a command called if is there. So if, so what I need to do, I need to write the condition after that. So then I need to write what I want to do with when my condition is going to be true there. So what you call it as true statement will be writing it. So what do you want to do with when the condition is going to be true? Otherwise, we'll write else. We call it as false statement. Understood what I'm telling? So I'll be writing the false statement. I'll be writing it. I'll write the true statement or I'll be writing the false statement. So what is this true statement? For example, I'll be writing like this. If raining, okay, I'm just writing if raining, then what is that? Take umbrella or carry the umbrella, whatever you call it as. Otherwise, no umbrella. Understand what I'm telling? If raining, then take the umbrella. Otherwise, what? It is not raining, so no umbrella. Getting it what I'm telling? So if it is raining, then I want to take an umbrella and go. If it is not raining, then I want to go without the umbrella. Something like this. Now, this what you are writing right there, if raining, okay. If or I want to have a little more modification, yes, I'll say if raining is double equal to true, I'll be writing it like this. If raining is true. Understood? So if raining is true. Generally, when you talk about English-like statements, you can write like this. If raining is true, then take umbrella, then no umbrella, something like that. Else, no umbrella, something like that. But when you talk about programming, so in programming part, when you talk about programming, like see, I mean, let us say that you talk about the JavaScript. So we'll write like this. If raining is double equal to true, okay. If raining is equal to true, then so I'll be writing take umbrella, okay, whatever you call it. Let us say I want to print the message onto the screen. So what I do is document.write, okay. So I'll say with umbrella. I'll say else. So document.write. So it is without umbrella. Something like that. That's how you write the programming. Let us say, so in programming, so that double equal to you are using, no, that is called the comparison. It's called. It is called the comparison. Double equal to you are using for comparison. So comparison of two values or what you call data. Like this, we have another set of operators are there, like greater than, equal to. So this is less than, equal to, simply less than, simply greater than, okay, then not equal to. These are the what different types of operators which we use for comparison of two values. Now let us say that you want to compare one value is big than the other value or one value is smaller than the other value, you want to compare it. Then you are going to use this different kinds of operators, you are going to use them. So these are called the different operators, which you call them as a relational operators, you call them, or you call them as a comparison operators, you call them, right? Or for example, you want to compare the values, A value, B value, you want to compare. Simply you write A is greater than B. When you talk about programming, we'll say if, open the parenthesis, A is greater than B. If the value of A is greater than B, I want to print a message, document object dot write, right? I want to say A is big. So otherwise, I want to say, so document object dot write B is big. This is the message I want to put on screen, right? Like this I want to run. Okay, we'll take one example and we'll talk about more on that. I think we have written the code and all copied. Yeah, passed and everything, we've done it. Yeah. Now the same one will go to the screen now. What we talked about the designing part. Now here, so instead of using the summation part now, so I don't want to do the summation. Sorry. So now I don't want to do the summation. So I want to find out the biggest number. You understand what I'm telling? So I want to find the big number, or you call it a biggest, whatever you give the message there, the message will be displayed as it is on the screen for me. Before I make any other changes to my code, I'll just make a copy of my code. I'll just paste it over here. Right. Oh, sorry, it's a spelling mistake being typed. CON, it should have been there. Okay, no problem there. No problem. Now I got two numbers are there. I want to compare those two numbers. How do I compare it? We said that in JavaScript, you're going to use the condition like this. If A is greater than B. So I want to print, okay, document object. Sorry. The document object dot get element by ID of N3, okay, dot value is equal to, now I'll be given as A there. So else the document object dot get element by ID of N2 dot value is equal to B. I'm writing. Okay. Now I don't want to do the addition part, just I remove this and just I'm placing that one. Let me save my code. So before another small change will make it. Now the message is result here. So summation it is. Now I don't want to show the summation, but I want to show the biggest number. I'll save this, go to the browser. Okay. Now I'll refresh my page here in the browser. So once refreshment is there, you see that biggest number. Okay, result is biggest. It's going to show me. Now I'll give some number, another number. Then now I'll click on the button. Now you see that it's going to give me the biggest of these two. Now let me change another value here and I click there. So it's going to, what it is? Why, what's wrong with the code? Something wrong with the code. A is greater than B. So N1 dot value. Okay. So I did a mistake there. It should have been N3 there. Okay, now I've typed the first number, tab key, second number. I'll click. Now you see that the biggest you're going to get. So I'll say biggest, I'll see the result there. Now how we are going to do it? So let's have the understanding of things, how we are going to do it now. So when you talk about this one, so we are taking the first value from the N1, that is in from this. I'm retrieving the value from there and converting it to the number, and then I'm putting into the variable called A. Then B, so I'm getting the value from the element called N2 there, and I placed into the variable called B there. Then I'm comparing it. So is it A greater than B? The value of A is going to be 223 there. It's going to be 223. Now what is the value now? Is greater than, so what is the value from another one is 33. So okay. Right, then what happened? Now it's compares it. Is it 223 is greater than 33? Now the condition is what? It is yes for me. The condition is true. So then what is happening? It's going to execute the statement following the if. Now once the condition is going to be true, okay, then so it is going to execute the statement following the if. Now let us say that you are given the other way. So you are given it as 33 and 100 you are given. So B value is going to be greater. So what happened? So the condition become false. Once the condition is going to be false, it is going to execute the statement following the else part. So I'll be getting there the another value I'll be getting. Sorry. Okay. So I'll be getting the another result there. That is, so I'll be getting the value of this variable value. I'll be getting the result there. Understood? So that's how we are going to do it. What you call the condition checking statements you're going to do it. So whenever you want to have some conditions to be checked, you can make use of the condition checking statement, or sorry, the condition checking operator called greater than can be used along with the if. So if I write some condition, so open the parenthesis, give the condition, what you want to do if the condition is going to be true, and what you want to do. If the condition is going to be false, you'll be writing it. Okay, so any other questions over here, please? Any questions? Nobody wants to ask any question?
So there is no need of declaring variables, sir.
We said in the last session itself, I said that using the var keyword is optional. If I'm not using the var keyword also, variables will be declared for us in our JavaScript. Okay, so using the var is optional. We'll discuss what is the difference of using the var without using var. There is a small difference there. We'll discuss that. Okay, yeah. Any other questions now? Now remember, it's a very simple thing. So I want to have a form to be designed. So forms ఎందుకు యూస్ చేస్తాం మనం ఇట్లా అంటే ఏదైనా డేటా యూజర్ దగ్గర నుంచి మన డేటాని యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయాలి, యూజర్ దగ్గర నుంచి డేటా ఏమైనా తీసుకోవాలి ఇట్లా అంటే ఫార్మ్స్ అనేటువంటి డిజైన్ చేస్తాం మనం. ఫార్మ్స్ అనేటువంటి మనం డిజైన్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఆ ఫార్మ్ డిజైన్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఏం ఎలిమెంట్స్ యూస్ చేస్తున్నాం మనం? టెక్స్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ యూస్ చేస్తున్నాం మనం. సో ఇప్పుడు మన డేటా యూజర్ కావాల్సిన డేటా ఏదైనా టైప్ చేయడానికి మనం ఇవ్వాలనుకోండి. So then what we do is we'll be making a text element, will be using it, and we allow the user to type the free text, whatever the text he wants to enter, he'll be entering it. The text may be the number or the text may be alphabet, but I want to have numbers to be there. So I'm using the first number there, and then I'm doing the rest of the things over there now. Now, okay, so when text control design input type is equal to text, will be using it, and then I'm using the size attribute there. So what is the use of this attribute called size means you're going to tell, so what should be the size of your control, right? Me text element ఉంది కదా, దాని యొక్క size ఏంటి అని define. ఒకవేళ మనం ఏం define చేయలేదు అనుకోండి, so you'll see a very big text element కనిపిస్తూ ఉంటుంది మనకు. So to avoid that, so what I'm doing is I'm using the size option there, and then I'm making the size is equal to 6. I give it. Now the size of my control is going to be a little smaller compared without using the size there. Now we are using two more attributes we are using. One is called a name attribute, other one is called ID attribute. So name attribute okati, ID attribute rendu use chestunam manam. Remember, name attribute vachesi manam server side programming lo use chestam manam. ID attribute vachesi we will be using it in the client side programming ante. Client side programming means like for example JavaScript. So JavaScript lo will be using the ID attribute. So name attribute will be using it in the server side programming. So let's not worry about what is this server side programming right now. We'll talk about them later. But you make a habit of writing name attribute and ID attribute. So rendu attributes మీరు యూస్ చేయడం స్టార్ట్ చేసేసేయండి. ఇప్పుడు నుంచి ఫార్మ్స్ లో అంతా యూస్ బోత్. So if you want, you can use the ID attribute or you can make use of the form name attribute in this server side applications you can discuss. Now remember this, what is this ID attribute, why we are using means, so we are going to make use of these ID attributes and all this, we are going to use it. As the name says, ID is what you call identification. See, we are having so many different text boxes are there. Manaku multiple text boxes unnai manaku. A multiple text box ఉన్నప్పుడు మనకు ఏ text box నుంచి నాకు data కావాలి. So for example, I'm having first text box is there, second text box is there, third text box. So here I'm having 3 different text boxes are there. So from which text box you want to get the data, right? So here we have defined the 3 text boxes we have defined. So when I've defined 3 different text boxes, from which text box you want to get the data, so that you can define it. So for example, I want to get the data from this text box, first text box I have, then I given the name as N1. So I want to get the data from second text box. For this I given the name as N2. I want to get the data from the third text box. For this I given the name as N3. So like this, for each and every text box, we are given some name for the identification purpose. What identify cheyadaniki text box 1, text box 2, text box 3 అని అనుకోకుండా, సో ఏం చేస్తున్నాం మనం వాటికి పేర్లు యూస్ చేస్తున్నాం. నేమ్ అనే యూస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, ఐడి అనే యూస్ చేసుకోవచ్చు, ప్రాబ్లం ఏం లేదు. సో హియర్ ఐఎమ్ యూజింగ్ ది ఐడి అట్రిబ్యూట్. ఇన్ మై క్లయింట్ సైడ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు యూజ్ మై ఐడి అట్రిబ్యూట్. ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు యూజ్ ఇట్. So by using this ID attribute, what I'm doing, I'm getting the data what is there in my text box, and then that data which is there in the string format for me, that I'm converting it to the numerical value, and then I'm going to do it. Yeah. So any other questions over here? I want you to design a small application. So what is an application is? So first we want to have, I want to have the name of a student. So first I want to have name. We'll try to have them, no issues in that. So I want to have, you call it as a roll number. Okay, then I want to have marks. So you call it as subject 1. Then I want to have one more, subject 2. Mute your microphone, please. So I want to have subject, sorry, subject 3. Then, so I want to show total value. So what do you call the total marks I want to show, and then I want to show the average marks. So these I want to show it. Okay, for this one, I want to read the data, right? So when I want to read the data, so what I'm doing, so first I'll be using one text box for reading the name. We'll have a little bigger. Okay. Sorry. Oh, gone it is. Yeah, fine. So I have one text box. Another text box, little smaller. Okay, I want to have one more text box. This is for, you can have the different sizes. Okay, try to have different sizes. I'm just trying to place them. So don't worry. You can design it beautifully. You need to design it beautifully. So all these are done. So I want to do the calculations. I want to do the calculate. So I want to have a button there called calculate. Okay, so I want to have a button called the calculate. When I click on this one, right, on click of this one, you want to do the calculations has to be done. So what are the calculations you want to do? So this total marks and this average marks, you have to do the calculation part. సో మనం ఒక ఫామ్ డిజైన్ చేయాలి. సో ఫామ్ ఏంటి, మనం ఎందుకు డిజైన్ చేస్తున్నాం ఇట్లా అంటే స్టూడెంట్స్ యొక్క డేటాని యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయడానికి, స్టూడెంట్స్ యొక్క డేటాని రీడ్ చేయడానికి మనం ఏం చేస్తున్నాం, ఒక ఫామ్ ని డిజైన్ చేస్తున్నాం. ఈ ఫామ్ లో మనం ఏమేమి రీడ్ చేయాలి, సో నేమ్, రోల్ నంబర్, మార్క్స్ ఇన్ 3 సబ్జెక్ట్స్ రీడ్ చేయాలి. రీడ్ చేసిన తర్వాత మనం టోటల్ ని, యావరేజ్ ని క్యాల్కులేట్ చేసి ప్రింట్ చేయాలి. ఎప్పుడు క్యాల్కులేట్ చేసి ప్రింట్ చేయాలి ఇట్లా అంటే మనము ఈ క్యాల్కులేట్ అనేటువంటి బటన్ ఉంది కదా, ఆ బటన్ మీద క్లిక్ చేసినప్పుడు ఇది చేయాలి. అండ్ నౌ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్ వాట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు డూ ఇస్ ఇన్ మై స్క్రీన్ డిజైన్. సో మనం డిజైన్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు సో యూజర్ షుడ్ నాట్ మాడిఫై దిస్ వన్. ఓకే, యూ షుడ్ నాట్ అలౌ, యూజర్ షుడ్ నాట్ మాడిఫై టోటల్. ఓకే, యూజర్ మాడిఫై చేయకూడదు. మనం ఏం చేయాలి, మన ప్రోగ్రామ్ ద్వారా డిజైన్ చేయాలి. మీన్ అర్థమవుతుందని ఏం చెప్తున్నాను. సో యూజర్ షుడ్ నాట్ మాడిఫై. సో ద సేమ్ థింగ్ ఇస్ అప్లికబుల్ ఫర్ ది యావరేజ్ ఆల్సో. అర్థమవుతుందా. సో టోటల్ అనేటువంటిది, యావరేజ్ అనేటువంటిది యూజర్ మాడిఫై చేయకూడదు నాకు. అదేం చేయాలి మీరు, అది రెండు క్యాల్కులేషన్ మీరే చేయాలి. ఆటోమేటిక్గా మీరు ఆ బటన్ పైన క్లిక్ చేసినప్పుడు దట్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు డూ ఇట్. అర్థమవుతుందా నేనేం చెప్పాను. I want to calculate total and average, but total and average should not be entered by the user. You should not allow it to be edited by the user. It's called non-editable control. It should be, or you call the data is only read only. మనం చూడొచ్చు, డేటాని రీడ్ చేయొచ్చు, అంతేగాని యూజర్ మనకు అక్కడ మాడిఫై చేయకూడదు. I want to have this one as a non-editable control there. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay.